Hey there, Knolly Williams here, the Business Healer. Welcome back to my channel. All right, now this is a question that I get quite often. Knolly, someone wants me to discount my commission. What should I do? Well, in this video, I'm going to share with you my answer. Now, I was recently able to sit down with my Knolly Coaching Club, and we tackled this question, and I'm going to bring it to you just for your own benefit. Now, I also invite you to join Knolly Coaching Club. It's only $1 for your first 30 days. Go to knollycoaching.com and check it out. Well, if you like the video, give it a like, give it a thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Let's check it out.
Now, I've had a lot of people come to me recently and they said, hey, Knolly, what do you do when somebody asks you to discount your commission? Okay, when somebody asks you to discount your commission. And so I've actually had it. First of all, it never happens. Nobody ever asked me to discount my commission. And there's a reason why it doesn't happen. Okay. And I'm going to share that with you over the next couple of weeks. But if somebody's asking you to discount your commission, okay, what does that point to? Put in the chat. What does it point to? Because this is going to be the central theme of what we discuss. By the way, when we have our time together, it's going to be thematic. So in other words, I'm gonna kind of harp on a certain point for a week or 2 or 3 weeks or a month, as long as it takes for you to really understand that concept. Okay, so this one will probably park it here for about 2 to 3 weeks because it's so big that if you don't get this, you'll miss a lot of hopes and dreams. A lot of my students miss this. But what would cause somebody, you go to an appointment, and whether you're in real estate or some other business, you go and somebody asks you, like my moving guy, he said, hey, this is what I charge. What would cause me to say, well, could you do it for this? What would cause me to want to negotiate with that person? Okay, he charged me X price. The moving company, we chose a company called UPAC, and I'm going to tell you guys, it's costing us over $10,000 to move, and that's not that bad actually when I started looking at it. But what would cause me to look at a quote that was like $13,900 and not come back and say, could you do it for 12? Or what would cause me to do that? And why is it that someone would ever ask you to discount your services? Put it in the chat. What are your thoughts on that? I want to see. Why would somebody ask you to do that? So I'm going to scroll down. Oh, you guys are so good. Man, you guys are so good. Wow, I love you. I love this group. Okay, so Melissa says it's what your offer is, what they offer. And we're going to make this first person. Speak about yourself, not about anyone else. What would make someone what would cause someone to go to you and say, could you do it for cheaper? Okay. Now, as you're coming up with your thoughts, I used to have a tactic when I go up against a discount broker. By the way, I was talking to a discount guy. He's joining my organization. In fact, he just joined yesterday. High five, Terry, if you're on the call. I don't know if you're here, but he worked for a discount broker. And my first thing out of my mouth, I said, man, why would you settle for 100%? Yeah, I don't get that. And, you're settling for 100%. You get 100% commission. He's like, I get 100% commission. He was proud about it. I said, why would you settle for 100%? My company pays me more than 100%. And so I proceeded to explain to him how that's possible. Right. And so what it used to be, what I would do when I go on a listing appointment, they say, well, I'm thinking about going with such and such because they charge less. And what I would do back then, I wore a real nice watch back then, boy. I don't wear watches anymore, but I wore a real nice watch, and I would take off my watch and I would lay it down in front of them. Okay, my dad was a jewelry guy. He used to teach me this technique. He would sell jewelry, and he would get a black piece of velvet, and he would pick up the piece of jewelry real carefully, real slowly, and he'd put it down real delicately against a black piece of velvet. Okay, you know what people would do? They would pick it up real slowly, just like he did. Now, if he would have just grabbed it and threw it down, they would have just grabbed and picked it up. But it was psychology. Sales is psychology. So he would drop it real slowly, and he'd lay it down like this. He'd lay it down, and then he would just push it in front of them. And then they would get it, and they would real slowly See, expensive. They knew it was expensive. So I'd get my watch, I'd take it off, and I would delicately lay it down in front of them. I say, how much do you think this watch cost me? And they would guess a price. Oh, that was $1,200. That was $2,000. Whatever the price was, they would guess a price. I said, okay, that's a good price. That's a good guess. Now let me ask you a question. If I was to take this watch and put it at a garage sale, how much you think it would be worth? And they would completely change. So one guy would say it's worth $1,200. They say, oh, the garage sale, $20. So it's the same watch, but you just changed your opinion that quickly. Why? Because it's a garage sale. Okay. And I would explain them. I say, now when you list with a discounter, that's like going with, that's the garage sale of the real estate industry. Now everybody looks at your house like it's on a garage sale. When you list with me, you see, it's you know, so you always reframe the situation. So let me look at you guys' answers, and then we're going to get into the theme, and then I'm going to go straight into Q&A. You didn't educate them enough. That's Sam. That's great. That's perfect. Teresa says negotiating skills. Now that's a good one, Teresa, and that's true, but you should never be in a position to have to negotiate your commission. You should never do that. Like the coach that I hired to get me a book deal with one of the top publishers in America, I did not negotiate his fees. Okay. You know, that's what he told me what he charges. And after I sat down, I went ahead and paid it. Right. But you should never have to negotiate. See, nobody should ever have to negotiate. Now, negotiating, you should be a real good negotiator, guaranteed. And Uncle Nolly's going to teach you how to negotiate. But if you're in the position where you have to negotiate, now you're in the defensive. Now you're in the defense mode. Okay. You should never have to negotiate. No, people should go to you, you tell them a fee, and then they just pay it. They either pay it or they leave weeping. You know, remember there was a guy came up to Jesus. He said, man, what's it cost to follow you? I'm down, man. What's up? I'm down. I'm in. What's it cost to follow you? Jesus said, man, you got to sell everything you have and give it to the poor. He said, man, I'm not doing that. And he went away. Scripture says this, he went away sorrowful. Okay. He was sorry. You know, yeah, he was sorry. They call him the rich young ruler. I call him the poor young ruler because he lost out on the one thing, man, the one thing he could have had. He could have been one of the disciples. He was called, but he walked away sorrowful. Okay. And the truth is, when somebody comes to you, they're not even going to have to negotiate. They're either you're going to tell them what the price is, either they're not going to afford it and walk away sorrowful and wishing they could afford you, or they're just going to pay. You know, so somebody else says, I have to show my value proposition. Boom. That's all it is. Who said that? Okay. Precious. What's up, Precious? All right. You get 5 gold stars. And I see a lot of others. Thank you guys for participating. Some say personality and so on. So we're going to go with what Precious said. And I'm going to share my screen again. And here's what what is your value proposition? Period. What's your value proposition? If you have to negotiate your price, it tells me that you don't have the right value proposition. So that's what we're going to park. We're going to park it there until you say, Knolly, I'm good, man. I got my value proposition. I'm going to show you guys examples. I'm going to give you homework. I'm going to give you things to do. This is next week. Remember, this is the welcome call this week. Okay. But next week, we're going to get right into how do you create a value proposition? See, when I go to a restaurant, let me say it this way. If you go on a listing appointment, you should have already won the listing before you ever met with the prospect. Let me say it again. You got to win the listing before you ever meet with the client, with the prospect. Okay. When I go to a restaurant, they've already sold me on being there. Because when I go to a restaurant, I'm dropping money. You guys know that, 80% of what I eat, 85% I eat, fresh organic fruit. Okay. So if I go to a restaurant, I'm living it up and I'm eating good and I'm dropping money in there. Money I'm talking about. So they have already sold me before I walk in the door. They don't have to sell me. Okay. And I'm not going to be negotiating. Have you ever gone to a restaurant and looked at a menu and you want the bone in such and such, and it's $72? When's the last time you ever told a waiter, could y'all do that for 60? You know, if you could do it for 60, I'm in. No, we don't do that, right? You know, some restaurants are big pimping, right? You know what they do? They don't even have prices. I was at Josie and I were in Vegas 2 weeks ago, Las Vegas, and we're staying at a nice place. And I go into the mini bar. There's no prices. You know, maybe I want a little, some peanuts or nuts or whatever it is. No prices on nothing. That's called gangster. It's like if you gotta know the price, you shouldn't be grabbing it. And I didn't get nothing either, boy, because I wasn't going for that. So anyway, we meet every Thursday. You guys know the drill. It's going to be 11 Central, 9 Pacific, noon Eastern. Again, you'll leave every single weekly session with a new strategy, idea, and mind shift that will elevate your business so you can spend more time doing what it is that you love. And we already looked at what we're getting, so we don't even have to go through this screen.
Hey, I hope you enjoyed the video. Hey, I want to invite you out to Knolly Coaching Club. That's right. The Knolly Coaching Club is where I'm able to teach, train, and coach you every single week to your ultimate greatness. Now you can join for just $1. Go to knollycoaching.com and I'll see you on the inside.